There it goes. I was on. I'd like to call Acadia Parish School Board meeting to order. Regular session, March 5th, 2024. Roll call, please.
David. Here. Lynn Quibido. Steve Mayer.
Here.
Steve Jones.
Here.
Ike Reshort. Here. James Higginbotham. Milton Seymour.
Here.
Becky Atkinson.
Here.
I'm gonna lead us in the prayer. I'd like to ask Midland High School to come up and lead us in the pledge after the prayer, please. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Lord, I pray that you give us the strength and guidance tonight to work together, to do the best that we can for our employees, our students, and our system. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Come on up, girls.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hold on, girls. Don't go nowhere. This is two of our basketball girls that made it to the top 28 this year.
Oh.
We plan to bring the whole team to another meeting, but for now, that's all we can get with these two.
Good job, bro.
What's your name? What's your name?
Congratulations.
So before we get started on the agenda, I'd just like to mention tonight, and every night, that we always comment or discuss anything that's on the agenda only. We don't need to be getting off the agenda because we seem to get off in somewhere we shouldn't be sometimes. So let's do our best to stay on the agenda. Item 2.1, approve minutes of February 6, 2024, regular session, the minutes of February 20, 2024, special session, and the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee and Personnel, Insurance, and Curriculum Committee meetings dated February 20, 2024.
I so move the approval minutes of the February the 6th, 2024 regular session meeting, the meeting of the February 20th, 2024 special session, and the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee and Personnel, Insurance, and Curriculum Committee meeting dated February the 20th, 2024.
I have a motion by Mrs. David.
Second.
Second by Mr. Quibido. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 2.2, consider salary book adjustments. There's two attachments. Maintain efficient financial governance of the district's resources, and continued assessments and evaluation of all operational components of the district, personnel, district, office, and school sites, maintenance, operational support functions, finances, population trends. And then we're looking at state legislative allocation of two local districts, approximately 600 teachers in the district. Legislative recommendation for distribution would leave out about 125 teachers. In order to pay all teachers, a one-time stipend requires approximately $65,000 one-time general fund expenditure. Monies need to be distributed prior to the end of April 2024. So we entertain a motion at this time.
I so move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Seymour, second by Ms. David. Questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. There you go. Item 2.3, consider approval of substantial completion of ESSER 3 Project E-001 Crowley High School new restroom building. Have a motion by Mr. Richard,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Atkinson. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 2.4, consider the approval of substantial completion of ESSER 3 Project E-007 Mirror Elementary Multiple Purpose Building. Have a motion by Mr. Richard, second by Mr. Jones. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 2.5, consider approval of substantial completion of ESSER 3 Project E-203 Crowley, South Crowley Elementary Corridor AC Addition.
I so move.
I have a motion by Mrs. Atkinson, second by Mr. Quibido. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 2.6, consider approval to conduct salvage sale on April 25th, 2024.
I so move.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mrs. Atkinson, second by Mr. Quibido. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 2.7 is here discussion regarding paraeducator compensation for $1 an hour. Mrs. Atkinson.
It has been brought to my attention that for quite some time, the need to increase our pay for our paraeducators, along with other essential personnel throughout the district. After a meeting last week with Mr. Richard and talking about possible other agenda items that were to occur this evening that have now been pulled, I still feel that it's important that we recognize the critical need for our paraeducators and what they provide in our classrooms. I think we need to seriously look at how we can compensate those people who've been for us for a long time and are skilled in helping with the success of that classroom. Many times, our paraeducators have to step in and take the role of the teacher from time to time as they may be out of the classroom for whatever reason. And they are trained, many of them are specialized training with CPI and other things that's necessary to assist with situations that may occur. And they work with some of our special needs students throughout the district. They are highly valued on our campuses, and I think we need to seriously consider giving these individuals who provide such a critical service in our schools daily for our students. And I would greatly ask you to consider this motion to give them a salary adjustment.
I think in looking from a business standpoint, as we run this board as a business, before we can actually put that on the agenda, in my opinion, we need to get with Justin's team to make sure that the funds are available, that I think everybody in our district deserves a raise, and a lot more than $1. But in order to be able to do this and sustain it is the problem. If we give $1 here and $1 there, that totals up to maybe $1 million to where we could be in the red next year because of the raises we gave. But I think everybody in this district deserves a raise, the whole system.
Mr. President, can we hear from either Mr. Carrier or Superintendent on this item?
On the what?
On this item, have their opinions on this? It would affect us.
Mr. Quibido, Mr. President, members of the board, members of the audience. We have about 180 paraeducators in our district. It would cost anywhere upwards of $330,000 to $350,000, $60,000 to implement a $1 an hour raise. At this time, that presents some challenges for the future budget, the 24-25 budget. And it's really too much of a large expense at one time to take on that challenge at this point. I agree with Mr. Abear. Everybody deserves a raise. Everybody's doing more. However, in regards to this specific discussion agenda item for $1 an hour raise for paraeducators, I do not think that it can, the budget, it would be wise for the board, nor can I recommend a raise for paraeducators only at this time at $1 an hour.
I'd just like to say that, you know, y'all know I'm always pushing teachers hard, but teachers be the first one to tell you they'd have a hard time without the paras assisting them. And I know that for a fact. They're critical. But so are secretaries and so are the other people behind the scenes that we don't see. And I think it'd be very, very, very important to try to reward those people with something. And we possibly could move it to the Budget or Finance Personnel Committee, maybe in the next committee meeting and discuss that?
So what I've asked is that we get with Justin's team and have options.
Yes.
You know, have options. If we give this one $1, that one $1, how much money is it and how much money does it take out of our fund to where we know what we can give? Maybe it's more than whatever it is, but yes, absolutely.
I agree that would be.
It would not be going into effect, I think, till July 1, am I correct? If the raise passes?
Yes.
So we have some time.
So we
and
have
we
a
are
little
looking at that to make sure that that does happen. So it is on the forefront and it is coming. We just don't know how much we can give.
I think that would be good. And thank you, Ms. Becky, for.
Well, I just think
recognizing.
I think we need to start putting those things out there and invest in the classroom and on our campuses and those essential employees that help help education happen. I mean,
Yes.
our secretaries, when we've been talking about that for quite some time, how they've been overlooked. And I just know, as a teacher myself of almost 30 years, that there are many times that I could not have done my job without my paraeducator. And she stepped in many times when I had to be pulled somewhere else or I wasn't there. And they provide a highly skilled service that is essential to the safety and welfare, and also to assist with what the children are able to achieve on a daily basis. And I would like for us to make a commitment to finding some way to compensate these professionals.
I think we can. I think we can.
So do we need to table this till next time when we have some more information?
Yes, sir. I asked Justin's team to get together and come up with some scenarios, different things that we can pick from and give the best that we can to all. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, it's not only a few board members that agree. I think we all agree that our paras, our secretaries all need a raise. And so hopefully by next month, we'll be able to discuss it further.
I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Glenn?
I agree with James Etta. Everybody on this board wants to see people get pay raises. But we had on the agenda to give the secretaries $1 pay raise. We made a promise to them to give them a pay raise. And I'm all for giving the paraeducators a raise, but I don't think we should leapfrog somebody we had made a promise to. We should take care of the secretaries first and the paraeducators second, or combine them. But the secretaries, we've been promising them.
Absolutely.
And you can't break a promise like that.
And I want to comment on that, Mr. Glenn, that all of these things that were on the agenda originally, the secretaries were bundled with indexes that were in a motion for directors and other people. This item to talk about the paraeducator compensation, I sent that in after learning that this was going to be on the agenda for the secretaries and the indexes for the supervisors. I felt that if we're going to talk about these things, that these other things should be on the agenda as well. No one communicated with me that asked me if I felt like we needed to pull the paraeducator compensation off and put it on a committee agenda first. So, there was very late in the week, last week, things that were brought to us to be placed on this agenda for this evening that were not covered in committee before. So I'm not leapfrogging. I'm just trying to look out for our people.
Correct, but I didn't realize this was on the agenda until the other day. And I didn't think we were talking about raises at all tonight. I thought they had all been pulled down. I'm all for the paraeducators getting a raise, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying. We made a promise, and now we're fudging on that promise.
Right.
And I'm not,
It says 2.7.
the
here
discussion is fine.
It says here discussion.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Richard?
Point of order.
Mr. President, members of the board, just to sum it all up, if I may, the item is a discussion item. That I can hear the chatter amongst the board members about whether or not we need to table the item. I think from a parliamentary procedure standpoint, it's a discussion item. It doesn't require any type motion. I do think it would be wise to the board and the public to run items such as this through committee so everyone has a very clear and accurate understanding of the budget process and a clear and accurate understanding of what has occurred in regards to employee raises across the board over the last 6 years. And I appreciate y'all's cooperation tonight. Thank you.
I totally agree with that, because we need to know what each raise is going to cost us. And so I think if we can get that set up and look at, and we can better know what we can provide.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Item 3.1, consider the recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee regarding approval of the 2023-2024 mid-year budget revisions for all funds. On a motion by D'Lo Hebert, second by Steve Jones, and carried, sends the 2023-2024 mid-year budget revisions for all funds to the full board for approval, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by D'Lo Hebert, second by Mr. Jones. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. 3.2, consider recommendation of the Personnel, Insurance, and Curriculum Committee regarding approval of out-of-state travel for Rain High School FFA to attend the 2024 Land Judging Contest in El Reno, Oklahoma.
A motion by D'Lo Hebert, second by Milton Seymour, send this out-of-state travel request to the full board for approval.
That's the move.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Atkinson. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 3.3, consider the recommendation of the Personnel, Insurance, and Curriculum Committee regarding approval to conduct the April 16th, 2024 board meeting at the Acadia Parish Educational Center.
A motion by D'Lo Hebert, second by Milton Seymour, and carried. Recommends conducting the April 16, 2024 board meeting at the Acadia Parish Educational Center.
I so move.
I'll second.
Motion by D'Lo Hebert, second by Mrs. Atkinson. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 3.4, consider the recommendation of the Personnel, Insurance, and Curriculum Committee regarding approval of the 2024-2025 school calendar.
A motion by D'Lo Hebert, second by Ike Richard, and carried. Recommends the full board to approve the 2024-2025 school calendar.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, members of the board, members of the audience, folks that are watching online, I just passed out a handout for you all. I think I would be remiss as superintendent if I did not provide this proposed legislation that will be heard at some point, or maybe not, during the upcoming legislative session that starts on Monday, March 11th, and ends on Monday, June 3rd. As you can see, the proposed legislation by Senator Beth Mizell from the Washington Parish area clearly delineates that the minimum school week shall consist of 5 consecutive days within a week, except for acknowledged legal holidays. I wanted to provide you with this information. In the event this legislation were to pass and become law, as you know, a calendar is a proposal. It's a plan to move forward. It's a path. It's kind of like a lesson plan, tells us when we come to work, when we don't come to work, when we have school, more importantly for our students. If the board, and I would recommend the board continue on with the approval process of the calendar that you have before you, but I want the general public and you as a board that represents the general public to understand that in life, anything is subject to change. Circumstances change all the time. And should this go through, there may be some additional revisions we'll need to make, as well as other 4-day workweek school systems in the state. Thank you.
So you don't have any, if they would approve something like this, if we would be grandfathered in for 1 year, or it would be slap dab right now?
Based on what I have in front of me, that's on the legislative website, it's pretty clear and simple that it would require a 5-day work
Like
week.
it's gonna be effective?
And it will impact a lot of school systems, not just Acadia.
Yeah.
And I don't want to conjecture or try to predict what legislators will do or the governor will do on this type of item. There may be several amendments that change this is just a start. And I felt that the public needed to know, and the board, more importantly, needed to know
Absolutely. I
that this is out there. Whether it passes or not, there's no way I can predict that.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 2024-2025 school calendar, and with, I'll wait and comment after.
You need a motion or something?
I made a motion to approve the
Second.
2024-2025 calendar. We got a second by Mr. Jones.
So we're discussing, now we can
Yeah, and then we can
discuss.
discuss.
Now we're going to come up with comments. I'd like to make a comment that I do know for a fact, I've spoke to a couple of employees, that there is a couple of issues with the calendar. I know we need to approve it tonight to move forward, but we can always adjust at any time during the year. We can bring it before the board, we can revote again, whatever we need to do. So I do know, and I did speak to both those individuals and tell them that they're not left out, and we will look at trying to make some changes for them especially. But anybody else that has any issues, I know we have a calendar committee that puts this together, and like one of the individuals I spoke to said, I even spoke to somebody that was on the committee, and they said, had they known that, they'd have made the changes then, and we wouldn't even be discussing it now. So I do know it's not perfect, and it never will be. Mr. Richard said that many times, the calendar is what it is, but we can always change it, we can modify it, we can move anything we need to move.
Like we did last year with our central office employees. So if we need to make an adjustment for a group like, you know, our principals or assistant principals, that we
Sure.
can take some action and discussion on looking at how we can meet their needs with a calendar adjustment for them. I would greatly like for us to do that.
So we're looking to approve this calendar right now?
Yes, sir. We'll approve this one now and make adjustments later. We can always make adjustments anytime. Yes, sir?
It was brought to my attention by middle school principals. And I think it's legitimate. We need to look at the calendar that you have in front of you. Middle school principals are 11 months. High school at 12, they're 11, and we go down from there. That makes them stay after school for 4 weeks, they telling me, and they return to school 4 weeks before the first day. With us opening school as early as we're opening it this year, they're gonna be at school until the 31st or something, no, the 25th of June. And then they're returning on the 9th of July. That's gonna give them 5 days. And in fairness to them, I wish we could look at that.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. We're going to try to look at that and make some adjustments.
Yeah,
Yes,
because,
sir.
in fairness.
It's not fair, that's correct.
And I don't know what would be the answer, but I think we need,
I think we can come up with something, though.
okay.
I think we
appreciate
can, absolutely.
We used to have a flex system.
it. Do what?
You know, you and I were the same way, 10-month employees.
Yes.
When you work a little bit you were supposed to work 2 weeks after school and 2 weeks before, but we all know that we still had to come and work late June and July to take care of other things.
All the time.
So you worked those days and you didn't have to work the full 5 days right after school. So it's a flex system. And I think that has always worked.
Yeah,
You know?
and I think at one time, because middle school principals, they're kind of like high school principals, they have a lot of night stuff, ball games.
Sure.
Like tonight, I know all the middle had a track meet, a softball, a baseball, and all that stuff, and they have to be there. And at one time, they would kind of keep track of their hours and use this over the summer.
Sure.
And that might be another possibility we could bring back if
Yeah.
so.
We definitely need to do something for them, though. I
I
agree.
appreciate that. Thank you.
100%. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Consent items, 4.1, receive truancy update. Mr. Milton, there's your update. Item 4.2, receive assignments and changes of personnel. Receive sales tax report. Justin, what we looking like? Okay. Have a motion, we adjourn?
Do we all get a
Right,
copy of the truancy?
Question.
Yeah, Milton.
Hold on one second.
Milton has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, you're receiving a similar packet that you've received previously. To date, we've had, since April of 2023, this will be the 7th update on truancy in the district. The information has not changed. The processes are still in place. Be glad to answer any questions,
Yes.
if there's a need to answer any on a report.
Update, I guess. I guess if Mr. Duracell would be in here. Oh, Mr. Duracell, I'm visiting principals.
Can you come up to the mic, please?
I'm visiting principals and they voicing their concerns. We still getting letters out at the rate we were. I know everyone was sending letters to you left and right and going out to parents. You have an idea, based on your letters, that how the absentee and truancy is going?
Well, I sent out 127 letters to attend the meeting with me and only got 15 parents to show up at the meeting.
127 letters for conferences and 15 show up?
Yes, sir.
Well, what can we do? Anything?
Well, follow up with calls and hope that they show up. The schools are doing a great job in sending out the letters in a timely fashion. The problem is if they're not age 11, parents will not look at them. So it's incumbent upon the school district to make out extra efforts to make sure that they reach all the kids. And I would say the schools are doing a great job and trying to track schools the best they can. But it's an ongoing process and it's very time consuming to try to track down parents. And actually, we have no teeth. We send letters out. It has to go through the judicial system. And currently, we have 8 cases before the court. Right now, we hadn't heard any feedback on when the dates are going to be for students that we turned in.
Now, it was also brought to my attention that the kids that are suspended, to me, that's considered an unexcused absence. But they are allowed to make up their work. If a student misses with an unexcused absence, they're not allowed to make up their work. Is this correct?
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
That's a state law, if I may jump in and kind
Oh,
of help
yes,
out
please.
the communication if we can, just to be clear and so everyone can hear and clearly understand. The question is about suspended students. There's a state law in the books that requires us to allow them to make up a percentage of their work when they're suspended. And as we talked earlier last week, Milton, there are about 8 court cases, kids that have been referred to the 15th JDC that we've asked for the court system to help us out with in the DA's office. I think there's about 40 students that we need to follow up on that really fall within a category of very much excessive absences. Part of that process requires us to track down if they're even still living in the school system, in the geographical boundaries of Acadia Parish.
It makes it tough when you try to put in a policy or whatever, some guidelines, and there's nothing to back it up with. And that's a tough situation, and I'm sure it has to be involve the law enforcement along the lines somewhere for these people that just refuse, you know. And that's what concerns me. You know, it's like a kid that, a child in the 5th grade that never has any consequences for not doing homework or whatever. It's the same way, they're not going to do homework. And I wish we could find some way to put some teeth into our policy. If they're going to have to get letters and we request they come up here for a meeting or at the school or whatever, it should be more teeth in getting them there.
Mr. If I may,
go ahead.
the court system is willing to work with us. I've had conversations with law enforcement to at least perform some type of wellness check or just to see if the kids are still living at the residence that we have on file. We'll be moving forward with some more conversations with parish law enforcement and municipal law enforcement leaders in the coming days to focus on those kids. We definitely need as many as we can in school. State law also focuses on the parent or the guardian and holding them accountable. However, there is a law, or a part of that truancy law focuses on kids and their driver's license for our high school kids, where there's some penalties that could be enacted. Unfortunately, we are not, or fortunately, I think everybody has their role to play. The school system, we're doing the best we can with the resources that we have. We cannot issue a citation to a parent or a student. We can't take away a driver's license. Only law enforcement can do that, and the court system can do that. And Mr. Duracell has done an effective job to try to implement the new policy where we're calling in parents to the office here. Unfortunately, as you said, there's just not a lot of teeth in it. And it's a nationwide problem since the pandemic. But we can do a better job, and I think we're going to continue to strive to find ways we can improve.
Yeah, I hope so. I know the last couple of years, we have fallen behind the state or above the state in percentage of truancy. You have any idea? And you won't know this till probably the end of the year, how this year is, right?
Well, it's too early to tell, but I can only go on the previous years, 21, 22. Basically, for last school year, the truancy rate for Acadia Parish is 56.12.
56?
56.12. The state truancy rate is 42.51.
Wow.
Now, the target for 24-25 school year has been established by the state for 40%. That's the goal for next coming school year.
So I just wanted to ask, just comment. So at the before this school year started, last year, y'all created a team to look at what we were doing with truancy, and y'all came up with these procedures and toothing up our school's response and our district response. Correct. So at the end of this year or at some time, are we going to do an assessment and evaluation of what are these policies we put in place? Right. What are some things we may have left out?
That's correct.
Of those policies and procedures and routines that we could maybe add some tooth to that could assist us with lowering those issues with truancy and assisting some of these families with, and looking at the root problem of really what it is why they're not getting to school.
Well, we're certainly going to do assessment at the end of the year, so we can do comparative analysis of
Right.
the results from the 2 previous years. To develop a trend, you're going to have to have at least 3 years of data to make sure that it's accurate.
Because I know that we've had discussions before here at the board, and we've talked about additional person that could assist us with, and, you know, people have casually talked about maybe a truancy officer that could assist with those visitations to those homes.
I would welcome that.
So I don't know if there's some way we can pull something that's already in the district, somebody who's already employed that could assist with those responsibilities. But I would like for us to, as we're doing that assessment, to maybe keep that on the table as an idea of something that we could do to
And
assist with
Mr.
this.
Richard and I spoke about it. He has a copy of several job descriptions from area parishes. So we could take a look at some, whether you're doing, some of them are very good, but you have to tailor-make your product to fit your situation. And I think there's some good ideas out there for truancy, but it has to fit your particular need in your district.
Right.
And I'd still like for the board to think about some kind of truant officer and get truancy out of child welfare and attendance, because Mr. Duracell's, I'm sure, if all these people would show up for conferences, that's all you'd be doing, pretty much. So if we could get somebody to work on truancy, I would like the perception of Acadia Parish to be that the Acadia Parish School Board is doing everything they can to get children in the classroom in front of a teacher. And if we could work toward that, I'd like to do that.
Yes.
Mr. Duracell, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duracell.
Call again if y'all.
Appreciate your hard
Mr.
work.
President, thank
Keep
you.
chipping away at it. Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Thank you, Ms. X.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion by Mr. Quibido that we adjourn. We hear a second? By Mr. Richard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Bye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. We